Hi, thinking about all you guys, and wanted to do a shorter video on some of the things that I've done in my sobriety to keep my sobriety, and uh, how I started it off. Many times I've started off sobriety with changing one thing, and that was I just went to AA meetings, and it was so awesome, like, to have that support and to be in the meeting and everything's good, but then you still have to go home and you need to make your life livable, because a lot of the reason we drink is because we're not able to live the life that we've um, designed or that we're in at the moment. So right away I encourage you to make some changes in that, because it's very hard to stay sober when you have all the things in your life still that were keeping you drinking. So here are some of the things. So I have to be honest, I changed in the past 5 to 7 years. I've changed completely as a person, and how um, you know, how I treated myself and being healthy and doing, like, basically pulled out all the stops to get sober this time. I had to change everything, and I know that sounds like really overwhelming, but the thing is, for each change you make, you are in a better vibration. So if we're letting go of the negative things that keep us drinking, then we are almost like releasing anchors that are holding us down, and we get buoyed up in our vibration. So vibration wise, we are energy. We are all made of energy. We're made of molecules moving, atoms moving, and when we drink, we're putting low energy toxin into our body. So as happy and joyful of a person that you are, and I know you feel like when you drink you're that person, but what about the flip side? What about when you're not drinking? Are you still so happy and free when you're not altered by alcohol? So basically, I encourage you to realize the difference between high vibrating things and low vibrating things. Alcohol is very low vibrating, it's a depressant. Other things that are low vibrating are stress, our guilt, our worry, fear, um, watching things, the news and other things that lower your vibration, because if you're an empath like me, you're very sensitive to stories on the news. And as much as even just the weather today, it's been very rainy here and dark, so I have to be aware that I need to do other things to raise my vibration when the sun's not out, because that naturally lifts mine up. So also, what are you, so you're putting you're putting in your mind as far as movies, music, news, people. Are you surrounding yourself with people that are anchoring you down, very low vibrating, keeping you low vibrating? And also what's in your environment is are you bogged down by stuff? Do you need to release some of the material things in your life to be lighter, more of a minimalist way to be? So you could actually cut out some people from your life that are toxic and low vibrating. You can cut out some too much clutter, cutting out alcohol, obviously, and other drugs. And then we can cut off hanging out at places where people drink, doing things where drinking is the star of the show. So you're cutting there. Now let's talk about adding in. So I released a lot of things that were anchoring me down vibrationally. And so I had to add things in that would raise my vibration up. And I'm very sensitive, you know, if I walk in a room and it's very depressed and toxic, or there's a lot of sadness there, I absorb that. So I have to really protect myself. So even though we cut things off, we then have to protect ourselves and put up kind of a little bit of a barrier, so that we're not so affected, because a lot of people who drink and do drugs are very sensitive people, and that's why we try to dull that sensitivity, because it's too much. And I've heard a lot of people say, everything's so painful now that I've given up drinking, because I don't have that buffer anymore, and it is painful, but it's very painful, but it can pass through you. So if you're not drinking, you deal with it and then you let it go. Okay, building strength in that way. So what do we add in then? If we're cutting out things, then naturally we need to add some things in. So some of the things I added in were basic things like getting enough sleep. Sometimes at night, which is when I wanted to drink the most, I would just have to go to bed, because thinking about it was putting me on the edge toward, picking up a drink. So sometimes you just have to go to bed and make sure you're getting enough sleep, 8 hours. Some people need more than that, and some people need less. But you know how much your body needs when you feel the best. So adding in more sleep, adding in more water, and less sugar, and then healthier foods, high vibrating foods into our diet. Anything that is not processed and that comes from the earth naturally is high vibrating, usually. So fruits and vegetables are very high vibrating. Add more of those in. And I know if you hate fruits and vegetables, I promise you that the more you add in, the more you will have a taste for them. So it's interesting how if we have too much sugar and we're eating too much sugar, we need more sugar. It's the same thing if you are trying to add more vegetables in. At first it's not going to be comfortable, but then you find yourself craving them. So it's interesting how our body responds to good things being put in. So adding in also now exercise, any kind that you like is perfect, and it doesn't have to be taking up your whole day. Because that can be overwhelming, but it could be a good 10 to 30 minutes. So just doing that is a great thing to do, adding in exercise. The people that I'm seeing that are being successful in keeping drinking away are also adding in self-care. So I don't know what that looks like for you. Maybe it's a bath at night, maybe it's a nap, maybe you need your nails done. It can be as little as buying yourself one small thing, if you don't let that shopping kind of spin out of control, then that could be bad. And I've done that too. I've switched addictions from drinking to shopping, so be aware of that. We tend to switch addictions sometimes. So I added in yoga, and meditation. So those two things, because I feel like with yoga I get my bang for the buck in that I get physical exercise, but I always say yoga is like 90% mental and 10% physical, because after a yoga class I can feel like my head's out of my butt. You know what I mean? I feel like I am back to center, and a lot of things fall off my shoulders during yoga, so I encourage you to try that. Maybe you're more of a jiu-jitsu person, then that is awesome too. So that's what you love to do that. And just the idea, there are different aspects to yoga, and one is called the yamas and niyamas. Niyamas are ways of living to improve our life, and the first niyama is called saucha. It could be pronounced sauka or saucha. I'm not sure. But I know that it's a purification. And so it's the perfect black and white to our drinking and doing drugs, where we are completely toxic. We're putting toxic things into our body all the time and thereby becoming toxic, really. Our body it doesn't naturally accept alcohol and drugs, with the exception of a few. We can talk about some of those things later, but not illicit drugs, if you know what I mean. So basically, a purification. So looking at what you're putting in your body, your mind, and your spirit. Are you working on your spirit? And I don't mean religion by that. And if it is religion for you, then that's awesome if you get your strength from that. But it can be just looking at who you are and the burdens that you carry and releasing those. So getting pure would be letting go of burdens and negative qualities. It could be eating healthy. It can be exercising, and you know, all this stuff. I'm kind of like an all or nothing person, so I try to do this all at one time, and it really can be overwhelming that way. If you can just add one good thing a week into your life that you know is positive and that's nourishing to you, body, mind, and spirit, and then taking something away. So we've already taken away alcohol and drugs, which is the biggest thing that's going to make you toxic at this point. But what about your mental stuff? What are you ruminating over? What are you focusing on? Is it negative? Do we need to replace the negative with positive? So as you get rid of something that's unhealthy and add something healthy in consistently, you'll find what works for you and what keeps you the healthiest. Me, with fibromyalgia, I need to eat well, I need to exercise, but not overdo it. I need to sleep well, and I need to keep myself positive in many ways, because life is hard and there's a lot of negative things. So if we have a choice here. We can think about the negative things, or we can think about the positive things. It's your choice. If you always choose the negative things, then your brain has a groove in it that goes automatically to the negative. So what we think on, we put grooves into our brain. And so if we're always going immediately to the negative, or what the bad thing that could happen, or but I have all this trauma from the past, then our brain is going to automatically go there. The problem is we have 60,000 thoughts a day on average. So if, in the bottom line is, we cannot think on all those thoughts. We don't have time and we don't have the mental energy. So if you could, as negative thoughts come into your mind, think about a positive thought and replace it, then you're going to start building grooves in your brain that are positive grooves, and your thoughts will automatically go to that positive groove. So it's really cool, because it's like, you know, when water is coming down in a creek and you block it, it's going to go around to the easier way around. And so if you start thinking positively and thinking of the glass half full, and turning those thoughts around, and you can do this, but it takes mental muscle. So it's going to take a while for you to take this exercise of your mind, take the negative, replace it with the positive, until finally your thoughts automatically go to that positive groove. So I hope these are a few things that, random things, but very important things. It's very important, and you can learn more about vibration. It's very scientific. It's very physics if you're a scientifically minded. But you can feel it. You can feel when you are happy and you are more energetic and you're smiling, and you can feel when your energy is very low. So I hope a few of these things might come into your life as you're changing. I don't think that becoming sober means just not drinking or using your drug. Becoming sober means many things, and what it means is you becoming your best, clearest, most high vibrating best self. And I hope you can do a couple of these things, and that some may work for you and some may not, but do them, try them, and keep working at it. Just small little things will get you you know, where you want to stay happy sober, not grumpy sober. These things will help you stay in that place of high vibration and sobriety. Thanks.